Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another edition of StarSound Speaks. This is your host, Irlianna, and it is episode 150. Oh my goodness, I can't believe it. And we are going to talk about March astrology, the new moon in Pisces. Wow, what a month. This is probably one of the busiest months of the year. It's got so much going on. It feels like O'Hare Airport out there, but I'm going to be your air traffic controller for the next several minutes here, and I will tell you what's coming and going. We'll make some sense of it and some great dates of empowerment and the overall weather, the weather forecast. So, okay, new moon in Pisces. So if you are a Pisces, this is your birthday month. Happy birthday, Pisces. What I'm going to do is talk about the weather, and at the end we'll do the trips through the zodiac, because I know so many of you like that, to show you where is this new moon energy going to land in your chart and what you might expect, what areas that are going to be really highlighted for you this month. So with that, so the new moon today, March 2nd, the new moon was 12:34 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 12 degrees of Pisces. And the big news of this is that the new moon is conjunct, which means aligned with the planet Jupiter. Jupiter is in its home sign of Pisces, so it does very well there. It's in what we call in domicile. But anyway, with the sun joined up with the sun and moon, joined up in the sun with Jupiter, this is a very hopeful and inspirational month. There's a lot of hope and grace and divine grace and forgiveness and compassion that is like melded into the very fabric of this moon cycle. What's nice too is that when you have a planet like Jupiter conjunct the sun, that is considered, because Jupiter is in his home sign of Pisces, it's considered a very special protection. We call it in ancient astrology, it's Jupiter is in his chariot. So and I love that. It's like so old-fashioned, you know, you think of like the chariot race in Spartacus or something. There's this giant thing with gold wheels, but it gives you a lot of oomph and protection. This is a really great month for mystical downloads. You know, the biggest transit of the year is this approaching Jupiter and Neptune, approaching a conjunction. That's not going to happen until next month, but we feel the wheels turning, especially this month. There is this huge inspirational music and poetry and dance and just outrageous design, you know, all of our dreams and wishes and our hopes, faith and confidence and optimism. This is like really moving, getting going into a real fever pitch. But anyway, what I want to say is that, yeah, so the overall feeling, very progressive, very optimistic feeling to this moon cycle. But I have to say there is a however. There is a, of course, right now we are, we've been moving through, you know, since December 11th, we've had Venus in the sign of Capricorn. She came into a conjunction with Pluto, Lord of the underworld, right? Then went retrograde from December into January, right? I've been following the podcast, you know, I've been talking about this, and that had us really looking deeply at relationships, and which relationships, especially with families, or authorities, bosses, you know, which are, what is, and government and society at large, right? Collectively. Capricorn, but what needs to go, what has an expiration date that is long overdue, and what needs to be fundamentally rearranged, our relationships to relationships, you know, and loved ones. And sometimes it's been with some secrets or some things that we have shoved under the rug for a long time. This was the time where we had to examine that, albeit very painfully, but always, you know, for the better, so that we may renew ourselves. And let's say if we did break off with a person or a friendship, that it was, you know, it's for everybody's good, right? So yes, we've been going through that in general. Today, Wednesday, Mars is conjunct Pluto. So that's very, very heavy, right? That's the god of war meeting the god of the underworld, right? Can't get heavier in the sign of Capricorn and Saturn's temple. So there's definitely this harsh reality check. Obviously, with the Ukraine invasion, we are seeing it very much so like that in the collective. Tomorrow, Venus and Mars have been, close, and will continue to be for several weeks. Venus is now at that point, at the final pass, right? So what started in December, this is a process. Venus conjunct Pluto goes backwards, and now this is the final pass over the hump with Pluto, and that takes place tomorrow. So all the lessons and connections that had to be rewired, it's like that rewiring process is now complete. And so we can, finally move forward. Maybe they've already been made and there's just this final, look under the hood, so to speak, to see if there's anything remaining. If we have completely ignored that, it's not an easy process to ignore. But if we have, this is like the final opportunity to get things straight and to clean up, and so that we can renew. Anyway, that is, again, so giving ourselves a lot of grace in this overarching, I think of, what was her name, in Glenda the Good Witch in the Wizard of Oz, even though there's this strife and things that have been happening with Venus, and even though she's going to go through another 3 weeks of this, but in a different fashion, which I'll explain in a minute, there is still that Glenda, with her big, I always love that big poofy tulle gown with all the sparkles. It's almost, that's like the Jupiter Sun conjunction in Pisces. It's like this sweet grace that's kind of like hovering over, the scenes where she had a little wand with the star on it. And she's like, and Dorothy was like really going through it. Then she kind of smiled and, it's this feeling of, okay, yes, we're still dealing with things. There is definitely a pressure cooker coming up that starts on Sunday, March 6th, where Venus is going to be in a bit of a pressure cooker. Might not be easy and comfortable, but there is, like I said, that overall, it's not going to be forever. It's like a little testing period, where, but to remember, and that confidence and grace and enthusiasm and optimism that is that Jupiter and the Sun and Pisces, right, giving us that grace, covering everything in this kind of bubble of grace, you could say. So what's really cool is, yes, so that's going to start Sunday on the 6th. Venus and Mars are going to finally leave Capricorn, finally, right? That Saturn's house is now going to be in Saturn's house, also Saturn ruled, but Aquarius, very different energy than Capricorn. Capricorn is like the gross physical, materialist, capitalist, physical realm of objects conquering that kind of thing, energy. But the physical earth, cardinal earth, foundations of society, whereas the Aquarian energy is about freedom and independence and building a lasting legacy of integrity based on, higher mind, higher humanitarian ideals. So we have this passion and this desire to connect on these more equitable levels. And that's what Venus and Mars in the sign of Aquarius can do for us. Well, that will start Sunday, May 6th. What am I saying? March, March 6th. Venus and Mars will go into 0 Aquarius. So yes, think of Venus, relationships, connections, loved ones, harmony, seeking freedom and independence and autonomy and self-realization in our relationships with ourselves and with others. They're going to join Mercury and Saturn, who've already been hanging out there. So we got a lot of Aquarian energy happening, this month. Venus, Mars, Mercury, Saturn, right? Personal planets and Saturn, kind of the wise elder, let's be wise about this transformation. And so, yeah, that's a lot. However, there's what happens is, once Venus gets past, she's kind of jump over Mars. when that happens on Sunday around midday, I think at 3:48 a.m. Eastern time, so just adjust your clocks, it's going to be in what we call an enclosure. She's going to be enclosed between Mars and Saturn. That's not easy. That's definitely a pressure cooker. And I know you probably feel like, okay, I'm done with the pressure cooker. I know, we've been like dealing with this on some other fashion, you know, like I said, since December when Venus going retrograde. Doesn't happen that often. Only every year and a half does Venus go retrograde. So it is a big deal. It's definitely a reality check, and it has been. And yet, it's almost like saying this is like we've had that test around what we had to let go of. And now it's like, okay, we stand for a fair, equitable world. We're empowered by what we see is possible in the future. And Saturn and Mars are just kind of testing us on that. Like, how badly do you want this? And are you going to cave? You know, do you have the stamina to move this forward, these grand visions? So over the next 3 weeks until the 19th, we're going to have some grace, March 19th, right? Right, the day before. It's like Venus kind of like gets a break, kind of like gets out of jail, right the day before the equinox, right? But in between that time, from the 6th to the 19th, it can be testing. It feels like a place of, it can sometimes feel like intractable, because Mars and Saturn they're difficult planets. They bring out the worst on us. But they do it for a reason. You know, you think about the, I thought of this particular vision came up for me when I was planning these notes. I remember when I was a kid, me and my little girlfriends, we play this, I don't know what the name of it was, but just this piece of this game where we'd all be playing with each other on the lawn, and we, like there would be one kid in the middle and two of us on either side of this person, and we'd grab the people on either side would grab the arms with the other person, and the third person would be in the middle, and we'd kind of like rock her around, like, and we'd say, take the key and lock her up, lock her up, lock her up. Remember that? Take the key and, all right, I'm showing my age. All right, my fair lady. Where the heck did this come from? I don't know. But that's like an enclosure. So it's like you're, you know, of course we're all giggling and laughing, but this is not going to feel so giggly, okay? But I'm just trying to show you the concept of two people with, let's say, imagine Venus is the person in the middle, and there's these two big guys, you know, like, right, Mars and Saturn, and they're kind of like, she's kind of like being rocked and being, you know, jostled around in this enclosure, right? And that enclosure is not going to come, not going to get any opening until the 19th. So while we're in that pressure cooker, just hang in there. It's like there will be a reward for that, and it's definitely testing our mettle, our ability to connect with others, the strength and the integrity of connecting with each other on a higher level that is benefiting everyone, where we're feeling freedom and independence for ourselves. And in seeking connection in new and innovative ways would be another Venus and Aquarius thing. And the enclosure is testing us, like testing the metal. And another, what I really love is that there's this other vision that came to me to describe what that might feel like. So it's, I don't know, I am like a total Mrs. Maisel fanatic, right? I don't know if you guys have watched it, or it's pretty popular, but if you haven't, it's on Amazon. Please go get Amazon and watch this if you haven't already. It's in its 4th season now. If you don't know or haven't familiar, it's this woman who is this Jewish mother in the 1950s in New York City. And she realizes she's a brilliant comic. And despite all odds, you know, women, like, this is not what women do, right? They're stay-at-home moms. Despite all odds and the most difficult of circumstances, she gets going. She's working to become this great comic. So in the storyline, they weave in Lenny Bruce. So she's always meeting up with Lenny Bruce. They kind of keep bumping into each other, first in jail and in the first episodes, and, you know, this and that, but they keep intersecting, their lives keep intersecting. Well, there was this one episode that aired last Friday, and you see she's working this really god awful, in this god awful place. And it's actually a burlesque hall, right? And she's the MC. This is what the job that she has found herself in right now. And so she's trying to bring some class and, you know, to keep honing her act. It's like the only place right now where she can hone her act. So he drops in on her and she's not expecting him. And, oh, you're here. Okay. And so he said, well, while you do your shtick, I'm going to be throwing some stuff at you. And she's like, no, 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 don't do that. I'm not, you know, go away. I can't have any distraction. He goes, no, no, no. And he proceeds to tell the story about when he was in high school in Long Island. He delivered his teacher gave him this speech to deliver a debate. And as he's in the middle of it, all of a sudden, plonk, this eraser comes flying at him. And it's the teacher. So the teacher's throwing this eraser and he couldn't believe it. And then the more he talked, boom, boom, he kept getting hit with erasers, paper, this and that. And so when Midge goes out on the stage, Lenny and his friends are throwing stuff at her, matches, straws, whatever's in the nightclub, right? And every time she says something, she's getting showered. So that's really what I want to share is that's the malefic enclosure, Venus. Imagine Midge is like Venus, and she's getting bombarded, right, by these obnoxious and difficult situation, right? So this is like the 3 weeks. We're going to be like Mrs. Maisel on the stage, and we're trying to do our thing. We're trying to stand up and be the goddess that we are, you know, or the talent that we are, and then having these hits. So not an easy place, right? I think of three in particular within this timing, 3 areas where you'll really see this tested. But again, you know, my advice is just stay the course, be patient. We're getting tested for a reason. It's making us stronger, right? What is that song? Whatever doesn't kill you makes you stronger. And Mars, the warrior, you know, really actually, they want us to win, right? Mars wants us to be stronger. Saturn, the teacher, the disciplinarian. Are you like, you know, what Lenny Bruce had? Are you focused? Are you going to forget your line because an eraser's coming? You know, it's definitely testing our mettle. So I would say grace under pressure, character building, you know, show them who's boss, right? We can feel in our, especially with our relationships and our love and harmony, we might feel lonely. It might feel like a very harsh, Venus and Aquarius, a kind of sterile place or a harsh place, or one where there's not a lot of emotional intimacy. Not the easiest place for Venus, especially when she's surrounded by the big guys, these henchmen, you know, and the key is thrown out. Take the key and lock her up, and she's getting jostled around, having erasers thrown at her. So you get the picture. So that will be going on for about 3 weeks. So like I said, it doesn't last forever. There is, you know, Uranus in Taurus is going to throw a lifeline. She's going to come into a square with Uranus. So that's like this revolution in values will prevail, and some unusual, innovative assistance coming our way, right? I would say that with all that going on, yeah, I would just say stay the course, be patient, right? In the Venus in Saturn's temple, with Saturn throwing erasers at her, you know, be patient, don't take it personal, but it will make us stronger, and it will feel really good to get out of jail on the 19th. Isn't that lovely that you have astrology? It's like, this is not going to last forever. This is what's so great about astrology. We know if something's going to last for a few hours or a few years or a few days or anything in between. So anyway, just wanted, there was something else I wanted to say, but I can't think of it. I'll think of it in a moment. Let's see, hold on a second. I remembered what I was going to say. In the collective, where we'll see this for sure, it would be, as I see it, 3 places. One is the, obviously with the peace talks with the Ukraine, it might feel like a long slog to keep holding the space for peace and reconciliation, because Venus wants agreement and peace and harmony, right? And when she's getting thrown around there, it could feel like there's a lot to withstand, you know, this obstacle course. But I would say for sure, you know, there'll be help. There's lifelines will be coming. Finally, Venus will conjunct Saturn, right? One of her big henchman guy on at the end of the month on March 28th, right before the end of the new moon cycle, and conjunct, and so she'll be out of the enclosure. She'll just walk past them, right? But in that, when you think about that, Venus, it's almost like saying, okay, congratulations, you passed the test. Now you can stand next to me, right? Instead of being like battered back, now you're like with me. Venus and Saturn in Saturn's house, you know, that's powerful. You talk about muscle. It's like, oh yeah, man, we got this. So the three places I see is as really having this enormous good this testing ground would be for sure, you know, Ukraine. I would say too, the women's rights, reproductive rights. I think it's the Roe Wade is going again, not Roe Wade per se, but you know, all the restrictions around abortion and reproductive rights is going ahead. With the Supreme Court is supposed to be hearing arguments. I don't know what exactly that date is, but I know that it's imminent. So again, just, you know, staying the course. And the other one would be like the LGBT community. When I think about Venus and Aquarius and wanting this equality for all and diversity, you know, there's unity and diversity. And I know in the state of Florida, Governor DeSantis, there was some kind of bill in the Florida legislature, and it's called like, I think it's called the Don't Say Gay bill or something, where they're trying to restrict families, teachers, and all, that families can sue school districts if teachers and people talk about gender expression and gender identity early in the like third grade or something. It's prohibited, but that's an open door that could actually inform and influence that conversation being extended, where people aren't allowed to talk about these things. So that's obviously very serious issue. But like I said, if you feel beaten up by that, just know that we are getting the help, the lifeline in March 19th, and then March 28th, like 8 days later, she'll be out of that enclosure, right? Finally. So there is hope. Okay, I'm just going to run through a few of the key days here before we get into where this new moon lands in your zodiac chart, and that'll be the conversation for today. So we have Mercury is in the sign of Aquarius right now. Wednesday, March 9th, Wednesday, Mercury is going to move into Pisces. Now we're going to have 4 planets in Pisces. So let me show you what that looks like here. Okay, here's the new moon transit, as you can see here, 12 degrees, 12 degrees. This is the chart for Washington, D.C., but you know, again, you want to know where is 12 degrees Pisces in your chart. I'm an ancient astrologer. I use whole sign houses. So that's how we roll over here. So in where you would look to see where in your chart is 12 degrees of Pisces. And then if it has any, do you have any planets at 12 degrees of Pisces, or within, I'd say 9 to 15 degrees of Pisces, Virgo, Gemini, or Sag? That would definitely be a very powerful new moon experience for you. Anyway, so the Mercury goes into Pisces. So on as you can get this to the day, and you can see here, once we get into, here's next week, we've got Mercury in 0. Oh, look how fast Mercury moves so fast. I love you. You're awesome. So speedy. And ding, ding, cha-ching. Here we go. 2956. There you go. Now look at this. 4 planets in the sign of Pisces. Boy, you talk about a soup. You know, I was watching the documentary, wonderful documentary, by the way, the series of the Changing of the Gods. And if you go to the changingofthegods.com, there's still a few episodes left. It's free to watch. You can buy them as well, and they have bonus videos every day that are free to watch for 24 hours. Every 9 p.m. Eastern time is when they change it out for the next episode. Phenomenal with world history and all, but I remember watching the one that they talked about the sexual revolution. So they're marrying world events to astrological alignments. And you see really well done with history and all the enormous, great production value. Is really worth watching. But it was funny, they showed scenes with the sexual revolution, people like Ram Dass, and people were dropping acid, and the Esalen in San Francisco, in the San Francisco area, the Esalen Institute in the 60s and 70s, and everybody was naked in these giant tubs, and they're all like, whoa, man, you know, it's probably smoking pot and whatever. I'm thinking, man, if that's not Pisces energy, so that kind of free, you know, I see this and I'm going, wow, Mercury, even though Mercury is in exile in Pisces, right? Mercury loves data and such. Well, you know, this is like giving Mercury a giant spliff, you know, when he enters Pisces, like, what did I just say? Oh, I'm talking to an angel, you know? So no, the 3D world, not easy, not an easy place for Mercury. Mystically fabulous. You talk about collectively here, look at these downloads for the month of April, month of March into April. Oh my God, Mercury, Venus, well, Venus will be joining, but Mercury, Jupiter, the Sun, and Neptune, all of the planets in the mystical sign of Pisces. Mercury, Jupiter is in its home sign. In modern astrology, Neptune was assigned rulership over Pisces. So you have both in the home sign. You got the sun shining its vital force there. Then Mercury smokes a big spliff and it joins the party. So this is a huge amount of sweetness, compassion, this relaxed, the relaxed mind. Well, if your mind is not full of data and chattering away, guess what? You could still chat, but you're just going to chat with people you don't see. So could that be delusional? Yes, there's that downside, but it is certainly an outrageous opportunity. This is a very deep month for a very busy month. Like I said, it's like O'Hare Airport this month. So I'm just giving you some highlights here, but the overall feeling of that sweetness and grace, that's going to help with, you know, when Venus in that take the key and lock her up, eraser throwing, Mrs. Maisel eraser throwing on stage, right? This grace is going to, it's still enveloping the whole situation. So Mercury into Pisces, spends about 3 weeks there. On Sunday, the 13th, the sun will be exactly conjunct Neptune, will go exactly right to the planet of, again, the dreams, the non-material world, the dissolution of form, right? This is like it rules fog, and so things that we can, like, are kind of hazy and confusing or deceptive. It looks one way, but it really isn't. I would say too, you want to be careful with if something is too good to be true, it probably is, you know, so let the buyer beware. Try to, not easy to have your feet on the ground, but do your best to, I don't know, eat lots of carrots, fruit, vegetables, to have your feet on the ground as you explore these other worlds, as these other worlds come to you. Right before I came on right here to hit my record button, a hawk, here's an example, right? Of this, a hawk landed so close to my window. I have a window right here, and it was like 2 feet from the window, if that. And he just stood there and he stared at me. And then he kind of took his foot and he kind of, like he was looking for something. And I was so like, I didn't want to, I was like, I don't want to say anything. And then he fled. But it was so cool, like hawk medicine. Look at the big picture. So maybe I'm supposed to be the messenger to tell you that, right? Hawk's messenger. I'm just saying, yes, look at the big picture. It's very easy to do that, to feel that unity consciousness, that kind of like the Buddha consciousness or Christ consciousness is very associated with the Pisces, the sign of Pisces. So look at the big picture. I would say too, you know, the victim martyr archetype is the shadow side of Pisces. So addictions, victim martyr, delusional, illusions, you know, that we have to be aware of, that, you know, that shadow is always operating. or, to at least be aware of it. Hopefully, we don't get caught up in it in that negative way, but we can. So let's just be aware of that. The full moon in Virgo will happen on the 18th, right before the equinox. The equinox is on the 20th, the Aries, so the sun will go into Aries. The sun is exalted in Aries. It finds a lot of strength and support in Mars's sign. Obviously, in the northern hemisphere, that's the spring equinox, right? First day of spring. And then we have we also have World Astrology Day, zero Aries. It's a critical point, 0 Aries. It's the first, when you think about the seed that has germinated and it pushes up, sprouted, pushes up from the soil. So that's new beginnings. You talk about, new beginnings. Anyway, that's the 20th. The 22nd, we have, interesting, we have this Mars is going to be squaring Uranus. And so there's a talk about fighting for equality and rights. So we're going to get Venus is going to be that square on the 19th, and Mars is going to come along like, yeah, man, we mean business, fighting for equality and rights, and women's, right, in the sign Uranus, in the feminine sign of Taurus, feminine Earth, taking a strong stand for new values that are compassionate and humanitarian for the Earth, for each other. A lot of mercy, forgiveness. Mercury lines up with Neptune on the 23rd. Totally talk about the ability to communicate love and compassion and forgiveness and kindness to ourselves, to our thinking process, relaxing and resting in a deeply meditative process. I would think going swimming with dolphins, that would be an awesome, you go to, I don't know, Cozumel, where if you can find a dolphin, swim with it. If you're in the cold, just meditate with the dolphins. That would be a really great use. Of course, dream journaling, incredible downloads. Keep that journal by your bed. I'm getting some outrageous images that are really strong when I wake up. So this is the month for that. And then, like I said, the 28th, Venus conjunct Saturn in Aquarius. She's out of that enclosure. They found the key. They're not locking her up anymore. Having withstood the testing ground, it's like she's earned her stripes. She joins with Saturn. There's a reward. I always say to clients, Saturn rewards effort. So the planet of peace and agreement and reconciliation was staying in Saturn's house. It will be there from the 6th to the 28th. So you get a reward for that, right? It may be bleak, it may be difficult, but you know what? You get a reward. You're stronger. You look back and go, wow, it was not easy being there, but dang, I've got muscles. So with that, I'm going to finish by just walking us quickly through the zodiac, where this will happen in your sign. So let's go back to, here's the clock. And here we've got it as, I guess we can just start with Libra Rising. So if you have Libra Rising, this new moon will be in your 6th house. So the 6th house is, it's not an easy house. It's the joy of Mars. So there's often struggle and effort and, feeling like we're put upon. Well, the fact that we have Jupiter and the sun and will be, let me get that back to the, okay, let's rewind. Don't start with Libra, we'll start with Cancer, because this is the exact, such a Virgo, oh my God, Mercury, Virgo. Anyway, so we have here the, for Cancer rising, this will be in your 9th house, okay? So 9th house, as we can see here, this is the joy of God. It's the joy of Jupiter. So there's a huge opening here, really amazing for if you regarding your beliefs, your philosophical foundations, your religious or spiritual beliefs, wisdom, the ability to expand one's spiritual awareness and consciousness. Great time to mystically to write and publish and dream and write poetry. Very high level of engagement there. I would say too, there could be some engagement with foreign cultures or travel or long distance travel or foreign travel or people in our lives like that, that might come up for you really strongly for this new moon cycle. And let me see, what else do I want to say about that? Your where the Venus and Mars, in Pluto would be 7th house. They're kind of, final, like all that hard work we've been doing and regarding relationships that we've been dealing with since December. Again, the final hump that would be happening in your house of marriage or partnership. So any final that has to be worked out, there's maybe some secrets that get revealed over the weekend, feeling a little whatever. And then we eventually, that, as you can see here, it'll go into the 8th house. So let me hold on a second. Let me just grab this for a second. What am I doing? Okay, let me go back to that picture. Yeah, so it will eventually go on March 6th. You'll have Venus and Mars will be going into the 8th house. So that will be some challenges with money, relationships, soul contracts. Let me see, hold on a second, just a minute. Okay, yeah, I had to get the picture right. So yeah, and so Cancer rising, that little pressure cooker drama, tough spot to be in with Venus for the 3-week, March 6th to 28th, that'll be happening in your 8th house, which is other people's money and support. It can be financial, it can be even the bonds that tie us with our souls, the agreements that we make, many deep levels, right? It doesn't have to be just money, but you can certainly see it there. There may be some conflicts and things that have to be tested and worked out in that arena of finances. Okay, so that's Cancer. But again, overall, I would say some new beginnings and outrageous downloads about your faith, your beliefs, spiritual principles, your spiritual growth, for sure, for you Cancer risings. Off we go. Let us go to here, and we are in the sign with Leo rising, as you can see here. That will be in, oops, pardon me. Preview. Oh, hey, come on, work for me. Hold on a second, just a second. Okay, thank you for being patient. Here we are, Leo rising. For all you Leo rising gods and goddesses and mere people and non-binary light beings, Leo risings, you guys, this is going to be an 8th house new moon for you. So again, this is a very deeply mystical house. I always like to call the 8th house the house of the shaman. It's like facing all these issues of life, death, birth, intensity, deep transformation, survival patterns, letting go. We could find, those of us with Leo rising could find a great amount of grace and peace around these subjects, and the ability to dissolve oneself into these higher, deeply transformative moments and experiences. That's really cool. I would say too that, and of course, 8th house being a house of money and finances, other people's money and resources, tapping into the unknown, tapping into resources, whether ourselves or others, and given this grace, this divine grace operating overall in this area of our lives. So the Venus and Mars will start out in the 6th, and then it'll eventually go into the 7th house in closure. So for those 3 weeks of Venus being in the take the key and lock them up, that might be experienced in the area of marriage, partnership, business or marriage partnership, collaborations between one-to-one with others. Those are areas that you might feel that tension, that drama and tension. where you are testing your mettle. So that would be for Leo rising. Okay, let's go to the next one. And we have Virgo. So for Virgo rising, this is obviously happening in your 7th house of marriage, partnership. So the ideal love, the ideal marriage, the ideal partnership, what would be very present in this new moon cycle with so many planets in that 7th house. So, and again, to not delude oneself, but especially for you guys, because you're going to start out with, over the next few days with that Venus, Mars, you know, it's been traveling in that 5th house of love affairs, children, fertility, creative projects, and you know, making these deep, necessary foundational changes. However, when it goes into that 6th house, Venus in that, you know, in that the eraser hitting phase will be definitely feel like a struggle in that 6th house. I would say too, with health, you know, you want to, you know, be aware of that, maybe some struggles with health, maintaining one's equilibrium is what comes up for me in that term for you guys. All right, let's see. The Libra, let's just go to Libra rising. So we have here, it'll be in your 6th house, and that's a house, you know, 6th house is also about healing and service, daily service. So the ideal, and a day jobs as well. So like the ideal day job could manifest itself, the ideal something where there's a grace given in the struggle. Let's say you were looking for a job. Well, there's some divine grace that's available this month for you guys in that effort, right? There's some, I think of like in the Greek plays, Deus ex machina, God as a machine, you know, when there was a conflict going on and the people in the stage, you know, and the actors, they couldn't figure it out. Then they have this guy come on, this machine get up, and he would be God, like Zeus, and he would descend. They would lower him down on ropes, and he would, you know, Zeus would descend and make peace and figure everything out for everybody's problems, and then we'd all have a happy ending. So that's kind of like what's happening or available for you Libra risings, where we get this lucky break, you know. So I would say too, there might be some last vestiges in the next few days of like family drama, any kind of corrections that needed to have happened in our families or our home lives, that's working its way out. And then where the Venus, the little 3-week Venus pressure cooker is going to be in the area of creative projects. It'll test our mettle for creative projects, one's children, or one's ability, you know, and I'd say pleasure and love and pleasure and sex, and those are all 5th house topics. So again, those would be highlighted as where we're gaining strength and our ability to, you know, what is essentially, you know, what are the values that are so most important to us, and to really get strong in regarding those topics. Okay. Let's see, we have the next one is Scorpio rising. So as you can see, this is the new moon is happening in your 5th house, which is, you know, children, love affairs. It's the joy of Venus. So pleasure and adventure and fun, having fun. Gosh, you know, after 2 years of all this COVID stuff, it's just nice to think that, you know, the ideal fun the ideal dating partner, if you're in the dating game, the ideal romance, you know, could present itself. I would say, you know, again, the problem with that would be, you know, oh, this guy doesn't have a job, and oh, it's all right, you know, we can live on love, or it's okay, I can take care of him. I'll be his savior, martyr. You know, that's no, don't go there. No. So, you know, just to be aware of that, the Venus and the Venus Pluto Mars fandango is finishing out its workout in your 3rd house of communications and connections and relationships with siblings or cousins, brothers, neighbors, all of that. And then again, where you'll get the mettle tested for this month will be in the area of family and home. It'll go into the 4th house. So home and family dynamics. Okay, Then we have in the next, we've got Sag rising, and this will be in the 4th house of home and family. The ideal home and family life. You'll find, oh, I'm going to go live in an underwater cave with the mermaids. You know, Pisces in the 4th house. Go to the ocean. Go to the ocean. I would totally. I want to go to the beach, and I don't have Sag rising, but man, I really want to go to the beach right now. It is spring break season, people. But I would say, you know, here the finding love and compassion and forgiveness in our family roots, in our genealogy, in our relationships with mother, parents, family, home life, the ideal home life presenting itself. Working out some old toxic subconscious patterns around money, which is where you've been your own self-worth, which has been operating for you guys since December. Now you're getting your mettle tested with your ideas and your ability to your thinking process and your to think along lines of liberation, you know, thinking and ideas, 3rd house. Promoting oneself too. I'd say, hey, this is a great time for you guys to, you know, launch an internet thing or be online or connect in unusual ways. I do have to say the last thing before, as I finish this, I will tell you the Jupiter Cazimi, which is happening this weekend, but hold on for that. Okay, we're going to move to the next one is Capricorn Rising. This is happening in your 3rd house. So promotion, networking, reaching others, busy, you know, busy, the busybody of that Mercury driven data collecting, learning, teaching, sharing, networking, promoting, selling, all of those things are elementary school, high school. Those are the 3rd house topics. And so all the ideal situations for all of those things would be revealed during this time period for all of you Capricorn risings. You Capricorn risings are very, very achievement driven, right? And you definitely were routing out, you know, with all that, you know, Jupiter and Mars and I'm sorry, Venus, Mars, and Pluto all in that 1st house. There's been a lot of working out with your self-image, realigning and doing some deep foundational work to present yourself in a more powerful way, free of old family patterns and toxic patterns and being your own authority, I would say. And now that with Venus going on the 6th, of March, being in that 2nd house of yours, you're getting tested around, you know, your self-worth and your financial situation and what things are really important to you. Are they coming from the future? Are they coming from a shared vision of humanity, or are they coming from somewhere where it's just me? So those are possible, you know, things to think about. Okay, we have Aquarius Rising. So Aquarius Rising, this will be in your 2nd house, resources, income, expenditure. So the ideal situations and a grace around finances and yay, right? Finances and income and expenditures. Don't be deluded, you know, be realistic. Maybe, you know, don't be burning a hole in your pocket with expenses. Like, oh, I can pay for this, you know, and you blow your credit line, you know, just be really, you know, be wise and be careful about that, because, you know, Jupiter in that 2nd I've seen a lot of damage done, you know, and it's like, uh-oh, I forgot there's a bill attached. I would say, yeah, just don't let all those beautiful dreams you have for launching things, don't let money and being delusional around your financial situation eat up those dreams. Be sensible as you launch. I would say too, with the Venus being tested in that 1st house in the little pressure cooker, so that would be, I would say, avoid adrenal burnout. Be really careful around your health, taking care of oneself, your health issues, your personality, how you show up to others. Again, you know, all those 1st house topics will be under question for those 3 weeks when Venus will be in that enclosure with Mars and Saturn. Okay, let's see what we have next. Pisces is, look at that Pisces. Oh my goodness. Pisces rising. The Pisces rising, I have to say, this month and next, you guys, man, this is your time to shine like nobody's business. Like win that Oscar, win that Emmy, go for it. Nothing will hold you back. This has got a huge amount of, I love the confidence in one's abilities, one's creative abilities, one's mystical abilities, outrageous downloads, people seeing you as this incredible visionary. This is what's the ideal self-image, you could say. The ideal health situation would be presented. What is the ideal health situation for you? You know, but having faith in one's abilities, having faith in oneself, you're going to find a huge amount of consciousness expansion. Very, very exciting. I would say too that again, this is finally working out whatever, if you had like say a breakup of a corporate connection or a corporate legal agreement or a partner, a corporate partner, or just some family drama, that would be clearing up for you. You know, that had started in December. You'll have the last vestiges of it this weekend. And then Venus will be tested in your 12th house. So you're going to be tested about, what is the 12th house? It's inversion. It's like that blind spot when we're driving a car and we can't see. You can see to the side, you can see in front and behind, but that weird angle, right? So there may be some things that we're not aware of, maybe some old patterns where we don't feel free. And this will, in our relationships, in our self-expressions, in our connections with others, maybe some addictive tendencies that might come up, wanting to hide out perhaps, or wanting to shut our heart down and going, oh, wait a minute, you know, we don't want to go there. So that's what's coming up for you guys with Pisces rising. And now we have, giving forward, Aries rising. You guys will have this new moon in your 12th house. So this is definitely about, I would say, forgiveness, about, let's say, if you've had addictions or delusions around yourself, a huge amount of forgiveness, uncovering hidden self-conscious, hidden beliefs about yourself, where you might have deluded yourself, or where you didn't count, or you had problems with self-esteem or self-confidence, where you have sabotaged yourself. So this, like, the divine is giving you guys a great ability to realize these things so that they can be healed from very, very deep transcendental levels that are beyond time and space, like miasms, you know, by being this is a good place for you to be a hermit. Go within and be this hermit in the cave, and you'll get outrageous downloads. This is the house, is the joy of Saturn. So wanting to be alone, maybe writing and journaling in silence, going to an ashram, going to do word fasts, silent meditation, Buddhist Vipassana meditation. This would be like an awesome opportunity for all of you Aries risings. I would say too, like, you know, looking at really, you know, the final working through of old toxic relationship patterns as they involve your career or your public standing or your public reputation, and then feeling that pressure cooker, but working that out around relationships with groups and friends and allies, and like let's say groups, spiritual groups, or humanitarian groups, tribe, you know, spiritual community, things of that nature. That might be tested, but again, it's only for, don't wait until the 19th. You will get that lifeline. It is coming. You know, God has a lifeline, has a lifesaver for you. But we must do the work. You know, we've got to stand our mettle and take those erasers that are coming to us. All right. So, okay, let's go to Taurus. So Taurus rising, we have the new moon in the 11th house, and the ideal friends and spiritual groups to hang out with, the ideal, you know, grace around and forgiveness around allies, colleagues, finding faith and hope and optimism regarding these areas of your life. let's see, in third and sixth house. Okay, so the that toxic cleanup that's been going on since December was around your belief systems and spiritual life. It'll now move. Venus will be tested in your 10th house of career. So who are you loyal to? What kind of career are you loyal to? What kind of connections and values or need to be tested, you know, for the metal for that. And not an easy place, but like I said, it'll definitely be worth your while. Use these 3 weeks powerfully to really get clear about what it is that's important to you and in your and how you intend to achieve that. Looking into the future, planning ahead. So that would be for all of you Taurus risings. And then we have Gemini. Let's see what we got. We got Gemini rising, and this is in your 10th house of career. So the ideal career, the ideal dharma, one's reputation. So people seeing you as this Jesus, the saints, you know. But like not to get deluded by that, right? But to you know, step out there and serve people in the highest, most pure, sweet way, full of love and forgiveness and compassion and grace. This is going to be a really great time for you. You've been cleaning up some financial karma, relationship karma, maybe hidden subconscious patterns. Now you'll be tested with Venus, will be in that 9th house for those 3 weeks in that little cage. The erasers will be thrown at you regarding your faith, your beliefs, your connections with spirit, you know, and the ability to really evaluate what's important to you in those areas. And is that it? Do we cover everything? Yeah, I think we did. I did do Cancer rising, right? I can't remember, but yeah, yeah, I think I did. Yeah. So that's all for now. And I hope you enjoyed that. And anyway, please do like, share, subscribe if you got value out of this. I'm just always delighted to answer any questions you have. You can always shoot me an email, Irlianna at StarSoundAstrology.com. And oh, one more thing. Yeah, I promised you this Jupiter Cazimi. You talk about, like, I don't buy lottery tickets, but I'm just gonna say, like, probably like one of the luckiest days, if not the luckiest day of the year, will be this Saturday, the 5th. What time would that be? Let me just check my little notes here. Hold on a second. Okay. Jupiter will be Cazimi in the throne room of the sun. So it's like God speaking with God, speaking with God, speaking. We talk about Deus Ex Machina. This is the moment, Saturday, the 5th of March, from, it's going to be a 5.5 hour window. It'll be exact at what, about 9 a.m., but from about a little after midnight, Eastern Standard Time on Saturday, June. Saturday, see what I'm saying? That's what it is. Pisces season, all these things just float around. Anyway, Mercury's not even in Pisces yet. What I want to say is from right after midnight on Saturday, March 5th, we will have that special mystical download, the communion with the divine. This is the one, an incredibly clear channel where you can just tell the divine what your real hopes and dreams and wishes are, your what you want to achieve, how you want to expand your consciousness. This is an open window, and it's very powerful. From 12:10 a.m., the window lasts until 5:43 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So that's about 5.5 hours. Like, launch something you've wanted to launch, meditate, pray, ask the divine for guidance, really feel, go to the beach, hang out with the mermaids and the dolphins, you know, go swim with everyone, go in that ocean, collect seashells, speak to the divine. If you can't get to the ocean, if you don't live near an ocean, go take a salt bath, you know, and get some Dead Sea salts or some Dr. Teal's, I don't know, just salt it up, you know. Very powerful transmissions by water. When I wrote my book on Harry Potter, my dear friend, I spent many days writing at her house on the ocean, because I got such great mystical downloads, and the whole book was about that. So if you can, go to the ocean. If you can't, you can sit in a bathtub, find a bathtub. You don't have one, go to your friend's house, you know, get in that water. This is going to be a great time. That will help you. But if you can't, that's okay. Just communicate however you can. That Saturday, very powerful day for abundance. Think about luck and abundance and confidence, hope, faith, optimism. It's just on steroids, that big old ear trumpet to God. The giant ear trumpet won't be operating. So let's take advantage of it. Yay. All right. That's all for now. I hope you enjoyed that. And I wish you the most wonderful, beautiful, dreamy, mystical new moon month in Pisces. So Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, StarSoundAstrology.com. If you need a session, I'm here for you. So anyway, let's rock on. All right, my dears. And yes, I've decided I will teach I'm working out a course curriculum. I might use that Saturday window, but I know many of you asked me, would you please teach astrology lessons again? Okay, I know it's been a few years, like 4. But anyway, so we all move forward. We love you all. Yay. Talk to you soon. Take care. Irlianna Samsara, StarSound Speaks, StarSoundAstrology.com. Thank you all for listening. Namaste.